welcome back. So we are starting out with a 20-ounce tumbler that I just spray painted white, and I'm just adding a coat of epoxy here. This is a basic application that I've done several times this past few weeks that I've done videos, but it's pretty simple. I just put as little of epoxy on there as I could. I did put a little bit more than I normally do because this is a very chunky mix that I've made, and I'll have the recipe down below, but it is some glitters that I have from the Glitter Ranch, and I wanted something that had a lot of reflection in it because I was going to be putting a full wrap, a full water slide wrap around here. So I wanted something that was going to give me a lot of white, and so I used something that was like almost like a matte, and then a pearl, and then I also used the angel wings, which has a lot of sparkle, those little sparkle moments in there. So I thought it would definitely show up after putting all of those water slides and decals on there. And I barely had enough to cover this entire cup, so I was trying to use every bit of what I had left for the bottom part there. And but I was just kind of testing it out, and I didn't really realize that I didn't make all that much. So it was pretty much, this was like the only application I had of this particular glitter mix, because that was it. That was all that I had left. So then, like normal, I took my parchment paper and I, pushed down the glitter, because this did have a little bit of chunky in there, and I just wanted to make sure that, like I always do, just make sure you pat it down so that you're not having big chunks of glitter poking up and you're having to do a lot of sanding and epoxy to cover that up. So use your parchment paper, cardstock paper, wax paper, whatever it is that you have, just pat down that glitter. Use a glove, anything, but I promise it will help you in the long run. So I'll have this listed down below, but I just wanted to show y'all real quick the mix that I made, and I'm not sure if that last color is on the website anymore, but I will definitely leave a substitute if you wanted. But it just had this really cool white feel, but then with that angel wings, it really brings out so much sparkle. So anyways, so then we went right into our first coat of epoxy after I did seal this with my glitter glue, just to make sure that it does help in the long run with as many layers of epoxy that you have to put on there. So if you seal that in with any kind of sealant, a clear sealant, a polyacrylic, glitter glue, whatever it is, it's going to help you have way less coats of epoxy. It's not going to wick away as much if you have that glitter covered up. And believe me, I speak from experience. This is a game changer when you do this. I used to think that you didn't have to, and maybe you did, maybe you didn't, but I promise it really does help out a lot when you do. So something I don't normally go over, but I did feel like this was a perfect opportunity to show y'all some of my Cricut experience, just to show you how I ended up with this double-sided cup. So I found these paint swatches or slashes. I don't remember what I exactly called them, but I will definitely link them down below. But I wanted to have these, like, she had sent me something that looked like slashes of paper or foil or whatever. So I was like, okay, I can recreate this and make it a double-sided cup in that way. And so I found these, and I was like, okay, I can definitely use these, but I'm going to manipulate them a little bit. So I contoured them out. I duplicated it 3 times, and I contoured out each one so I would have one separate. And I did slice out those other ones at the bottom. If you saw that at the beginning, you might want to slow this down or pause it if you're in Design Space and trying to redo this, because time frame, I'm gonna be already over my time, so I just didn't want to waste a whole bunch of time going over every single little detail. But you can see what I'm doing here. So anyways, I got all of those slashes or paint swatches or whatever you want to call them. Each one of those images I am taking and I am making them as long as the cup. So the cup was 8 inches long or whatever, if you're doing a 20 ounce or if you're doing a 30 ounce or whatever it is. And then I just made them a little bit smaller as far as thinner but longer, and that was the look that I was going for. I did manipulate them a little bit because I was trying to figure out exactly how many would it take to go all the way around the cup. And that was, you know, my initial thing was like, how many swatches can I have that will go around the cup that will give me an even amount that will give me a double-sided cup. So in the beginning, I created a box, a square that was the size of the cup, right? And so I made all of those swatches go to the point of, you know, that they would fit in that size of the cup. So I would have something that would go all the way around. I was also making sure that I had an equal amount of stripes that would equal the amount of stripes that I needed to have each color and the leopard print represented, and it being even all the way around. I hope all of that makes sense, but if you just watch and you kind of see what I'm doing here, you'll understand. So now I'm taking each one of these swatches and I'm taking the foil template that I got from the from Creative Fabrica. I found these foils that I wanted to use, and they were different colors, different patterns, and that kind of thing. And I took each one of those stripes, swatches, whatever. I don't know why I cannot think of the word, but anyways, I took each one of those and sliced it out of the kind of pattern of wherever I wanted it out of the foil. And I did minimize those and put them off to the side so that I could make another one and that it would look a little bit different in the end, or wasn't sure if I was going to be done with them or not, so I just kind of minimized them and put them off to the side. Now this one particular leopard print, I just made one of these and used it throughout the whole look. But I did flip it around, which you can do up at the top. You can take it and flip it so that it would kind of have just a little bit different look. Also, you can flip them too if you feel like the one side of the slash will be better if you flip it to go this way or that way. You can kind of manipulate them, kind of fit them like a puzzle when you're, you know, as you're going about doing this. Now, my one thing was, like I was saying, is that I had to manipulate it to, I had to get it exactly right to have a double-sided cup. So I had the black side on one, and then I had the blue and orange on the other side. So as you can see, as I'm cutting these, I'm trying to figure out that I want this one side to go onto the other side. So there I see that there's already a black one on that side. So I can't do that. I have to, you know, I'm going to have to manipulate. I'm going to have to switch that around in the end. And so these are types of things whenever you are trying to achieve this look that you're going to have to keep in mind, that when you do get everything together, whenever you get all of your colors together, in order for it to wrap all the way around, you want to make sure that the pattern is going to flow correctly. And I hope that all of that makes sense. But anyways, as you can see what I'm doing, I'm just kind of cutting out each one, using the color, using the different foils, and using the patterns. And it's really repetition at this point, but it is just creating a pattern. So after we get all of that done, I took all of my pieces, swept over all of them to get all of them, you know, to collect all of them. And then I did like a center alignment and made sure that they were all, you know, I know they're not going to be perfect because of the fact that they're just those slashes, but I wanted them to somewhat be in a line, you know, and centered as much as they possibly could be. So as you can see, I had to make sure that the pattern was going from one side to the other. So it's now that I realized that I'm going to need that we don't have 4 stripes of colors. We have 2 stripes of colors and then a leopard print. So I'm going to need to make the leopard print on that other side there so that we have the exact amount. And then I adjusted the size, flipped them around if I thought that they needed to be flipped around, or adjusted them so that the look was cohesive and it was all together for the whole look, for the whole wrap. And I always group and duplicate the look so that I know that I have one that hasn't been altered in any way, because that way, just in case if I need to go back, I can go back and fix anything, adjust anything, or whatever. But then once I put all of that together, then I take it and flatten the picture so that everything is connected, and when I print it, it prints plain. I mean, it prints, you know, like one full piece instead of like all those little slashes. I didn't want that. I wanted the whole thing to be printed. But I take that back. I actually had to split it up in twos because print and cut does not have, it was too big for how much I wanted, so I had to cut it in half. So I had to do those, you know, 5 pieces or 6 pieces or whatever, and then I had to do the other 6 pieces and split it up in half so that I would flatten one group and flatten the other group. So I did end up with 2 pieces to put on there, but all in all, it did give me the full look. So then I printed them on water slide paper that I have, and I sealed it 3 times with clear gloss spray from Rust-Oleum, and then I put them in my warm water, and I let them soak so that they could release from the back side of that. Now, I did put it on the cup as far as the back side being wet so that I would get the cup wet, and that's just my way of doing it. Instead of putting a bunch of water on there, I just kind of set the water slide on there and let it get wet. And then had a little bit of issues at the beginning just trying to get it off of the backing and then onto the cup, and trying to figure out exactly how we were going to pull this off. But I did get it going. But you know, sometimes water slides can just be really fickle. So, but as you can see, we have our 2 pieces and we are making a double-sided cup. So I thought it was going to be really cool to see one side of it as the dance mom, so she could just flip her lid around and, you know, be representing one kid, and then flip it around and be representing the other kid. It was a really fun idea that she kind of had, and then I took it to the next level and came up with this idea, and I was very pleased with the outcome. And then once those 2 water slides dried, I went in with a good coat of epoxy just to cover that up so that we could go right into our Dance Mom and Cheer Mom decals. And this I'm going to speed up quite a bit because it was with the leopard font that I used, which is adorable. It was a little more painful to weed through, but it was totally worth it in the end. So here we go into the decals. Now, you've seen many weeding videos, I'm sure, by me and multiple different artists on YouTube, but I wanted to just go over real quick. I did design these 2, you know, Dance and Cheer Mom. I did design them. Now, the one thing that I do like to do when I'm doing something like this, if it's an idea for you, if you want to kind of recreate something like this, is I like to take a, you know, like a real rough kind of solid look of a font, and then add it to, and then compare, what's the word I'm trying to look for? Okay. Put it with, that's not the word, but whatever, that I would, you know, put it with something that's a little more scripted, a little more, you know, fancy or whatever, to something that's more of plain or more structured, so that you get that, you know, juxtaposition between the 2 looks or whatever. So, and I wanted to do it where it had the outline. So I did an offset of this, and I put the dance on first and the cheer on first, and then I put the mom on top, because it does have, though, I knew that when I put that on top, that it would kind of blend in a little bit more and make the mom a little more present in the front, I guess, if you will. And so that's kind of why I decided to do it. But it's totally up to you. I guess, you know, going to the front to the back would be kind of what word would be more important in the, you know, overall look of the decal or whatnot. So then we take the tumbler, and I cleaned it with a little bit of alcohol, because I always do that before I put a decal on. And this was very important, and much more important than I normally take, much more serious than I normally take my decal application. But I wanted to make sure that wherever I put this, the first decal, that it was on the center of the back side of the cup. And then when I put this one on, I wanted to make sure that it was in the center of the opposite side of the cup. And I was trying to make sure that it was, you know, even on this side and on that side, to make sure that we had enough space going between each side of the cup so that we had a true double-sided cup. So I found this on Amazon, and I thought that it would be comparable to the Quick Coat. And so I found it, I bought it, I tried it, I love it. I absolutely 10 out of 10 would recommend. And what I do is, it's a little bit, it's a lot cheaper than Quick Coat. It's a little bit cheaper than polyacrylic, but what it does is it has this tiny little hole that you can kind of squeeze out and put on top to cover up your vinyl, to keep it, you know, free of bubbles, free of any kind of, you know, so when the epoxy goes over it, it is just a smooth, clean surface that is going over. Now, I used to use Mod Podge for this, but I found this and I thought I'm going to try it and see how it compares to Quick Coat. Now, to be honest, I've only used Quick Coat a couple of times, and it was perfectly fine. I had no problems with it, but it was just the price. And I thought, you know, maybe I'll try this. It's a heck of a lot cheaper, and it's about the same amount, but it is like way cheaper than the Quick Coat, and it's from Amazon. You can get it a lot quicker, and I absolutely, definitely love it. One thing I wanted to add was I was turning it and not shaking it. That is crucial. You don't want to shake it and have too many bubbles, because then you'll have bubbles on your coat there. So anyways, also they are brush strokes. Those are brush strokes. I don't know why my brain could not function earlier, but I finally thought about it and was like, it's brushstrokes. Anyways, I thought this was a really cool concept, and I thought this would be something that y'all could definitely do when you have that customer that is like, I want this represented and this represented and this represented. I thought, you know, you could pull in different colors this way. You could pull in different aspects this way. You know, I just kind of thought it would be a cool thing to film and share with you guys, and I hope that you do love it. And if this does inspire you, I hope that you would tag me in any kind of pictures that you have. Please like and subscribe and comment down below. Join my Facebook group. And you guys, I will see you next time.